Hello and welcome to freephotoshop.com and this week's video tutorial looking at how to blur live type. Now I've made this video primarily for people who are using Photoshop CS2 or older. Unfortunately, Elements users can't follow along with this one because you need the inner and outer glow layer styles to be able to use this technique. And if you're using Photoshop CS3 or a more advanced version of the software, then you don't need to use these techniques either because you've got access to smart filters. All you need to do is to select the layer, come up here to the filter menu and select to convert for smart filters, and then just go ahead and apply something like the Gaussian blur filter and you're done. For users of older versions of Photoshop, things aren't quite so simple because you don't get access to smart filters. Sure, you can rasterize your text to pixels and then add a filter, but as soon as you do that, you're losing the ability to edit your text. So as an alternative, I'm going to show you two quick methods of creating a blur effect inside of live editable text. Now you'll see over here in the layers palette, I've got 3 live text layers and a background layer. The first text layer is called sharp text, and that's just going to sit there to give us an idea of how much blurring we're adding to our text. Alright, as for the second layer called outer glow blur, I'm going to create a live blur effect by first of all activating the relevant layer here inside the layers palette, and then coming down here to the FX icon and selecting the outer glow option, which will bring up the outer glow controls as part of the standard layers dialog box here inside of Photoshop. Now I'm going to move this out of the way as best I can so we can see the center block of text. After all, that's the one we're going to be modifying. I'm going to change the blend mode to normal and then up the opacity to 100%. Next I'm going to click this color swatch and then just change the color of the glow to the exact same color of the text, which in this case is black. And if you weren't too sure what color the text is, then just hover above it and your cursor will change into the eyedropper tool and you can just lift the color from there. Having already set my glow color, I'm going to hit OK to load it up, and now you can already see that the default spread and size values here are giving us a pretty nice blur effect. Okay, so that's one way. I'm going to hit OK to accept these changes. Now I'm going to activate the inner glow layer and then once again come down to the FX icon and select the inner glow layer style. Now I'm going to follow the previous changes we made by changing the blending mode to normal, upping the opacity to 100%, and then clicking on the swatch to bring up the color picker, and from here we're going to choose the color we want the blurred text to be. So this time I'm going to lift a color from the text itself using the eyedropper tool, and then click OK to accept that as my color. Now I'm going to change the source from edge to center, and then lower the choke value to 0, and try a size of around about 8 pixels. Okay, I'm going to switch to the blending options screen here inside the layer style dialog box, and I'm going to drop the fill opacity here under the advanced blending options to 0%. And as we drop that, we can see that the text is becoming more blurry on screen here. Okay, if you wanted to amend the value now, you could switch back to the inner glow options, and we've got a preview over here on the right hand side as to what the layer effect will look like when the settings that you've got over here are applied. You can also make changes if you want to make the text more or less blurry by just messing around with these settings right here. Okay, I'm going to hit OK to accept the changes, and remember, both these methods are not only attached to live editable text, but also the effects themselves are still editable via the Layer Styles dialog box that can now be accessed anytime you want to by clicking on the eyeballs beneath each layer. Okay, well I hope you found this tutorial on freephotoshop.com to be helpful. Thanks very much for watching.